Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. Sometimes we have people who come into our lives very quietly. And although they might be a quiet person, sometimes their spirit reverberates like a sonic blast. Show of hands, have any of you ever met a person like that? Their spirit resonates like a sonic blast. I have. Her name was Jeannie. Some people, when we talk about legacies, we think about legacies where there's a lot of loud applause, headlights, or head stories and spotlights and all the different things about the headlines. But some people leave a legacy, like Jeannie Hodges, a legacy of quiet steps, a legacy of steady hands, a legacy of a life lived with deep purpose. Now, Jeannie wasn't famous. She was just an ordinary person who was absolutely extraordinary. She didn't have a lot of titles or college degrees to try to convey her worth, but she had something that was much, much more important. She had consistency, she had integrity, and she had faith. She once described herself to me as being a person who was a not a give up type of person. And so tonight, I want to share with you why that phrase has come to mean so much to me. When we think about how we view strength and how we view service and how we view the legacy that we're each living and leaving for those that come after us. So I want to talk a little bit about Jeannie's story, but also a little bit about my own. So Jeannie grew up in Riverview, which was a Black community in Kingsport, Tennessee. Kingsport is up in northeast Tennessee, about 5 hours from here. She grew up in the time of segregation into desegregation. Riverview was a very, and still is, a very tight-knit, strong Black community. And so as she was growing up during this time, she was faced with all kinds of barriers in the world. Barriers that told her that she doesn't matter. Barriers that tell her that her voice does not matter, that she doesn't belong. She can't work here, she can't go there, she can't drink from the fountain. But what was her response? She quietly showed up anyway and kept showing up anyway. As Gary mentioned in the introduction, Jeannie became the first Black employee at Lincoln Elementary School, the year that they desegregated. So she didn't walk into the school as a teacher or an administrator. Jeannie became an instructional assistant, and later she became the office assistant, or what many people called the voice and the face of the school. That front office, you guys, was like her ministry. Every smile, every greeting was an act of service for Jeannie. Jeannie made sure that she knew the names of every child and greeted them by name. She remembered their birthdays. She saw children when they felt like no one else was seeing them. Jeannie absolutely didn't need a microphone to be heard because her presence spoke volumes. I remember once when I was interviewing her for the story, I remember asking her what she felt was her purpose in life. Without hesitation, Jeannie said, "My purpose is to help other people." In fact, she told me that her favorite song was a song that was sang and made famous by Mahalia Jackson. The song that says, "If I can help somebody." Now, Jeannie didn't have to explain to me why she chose that song. I know the words, so I understood. Maybe you know the words too. If I can help somebody as I travel along, if I can help somebody with a word or a song, if I can help somebody from doing wrong, no, my living shall not be in vain. Now, that wasn't just a song for Jeannie. That was her mission statement. And as I reflect upon my life, I understand that that song and that mission are also shaping my mission. So when I was working on writing Jeannie's journey, and when I was interviewing her and finding out and sharing the story about her life, about her faith, and about her voice, I actually began to realize something uncomfortable. I wasn't just telling her story, I was being confronted by my own. So as Jeannie shared with me, she was a not a give up type of person. But many, many times in my life, more than I would like to acknowledge, I absolutely considered giving up on dreams, giving up on thriving and being comfortable with just simply existing, giving up on the idea that I had a story to tell and that I should tell it because I was called to do so, giving up on the idea and the hope that all this striving would somehow, someday, somehow be something meaningful. But Jeannie's life became a mirror. She reminded me that impact is not about recognition. It's about obedience. It's about presence. It's about showing up. She didn't need accolades to do what was right. She just simply did what was needed to be done and left the rest in God's hands. The reflection, when I think back on the way that Jeannie lived her life, I see the resemblance between her and my mother. And I think about that strength, that spirit, that service. Between the two of them, they have set a standard for life that I am striving to try to meet, to try to walk through, and to try to follow each and every day. So Jeannie's story has taught me that legacies don't have to be loud. They just have to be lasting. And her legacy has become a lens through which I see my life. Lasting legacies are built by people who don't give up. People who show up faithfully, even when the applause is absent, even when the progress is slow, even when the outcome is uncertain. So tonight I ask you, where in your life are you being invited not to give up? Is it a dream that you're still waiting to see realized? Is it a prayer that you're still waiting to see answered? Is it learning how to trust your voice and understand that you have a purpose? Maybe you're still trying to figure out your journey because the path seems unclear. Jeannie's life proves something powerful. You don't need a title or a platform to make a difference. You just need to keep showing up again and again and again. Because someone you may never meet will be touched by your story. And just maybe the way that you lived your journey will be the inspiration they need for them to become a not a give up person. Jeannie never called herself a leader, but she absolutely was. Her journey is part of our vibrant tapestry. And today, I carry her thread forward, one faithful step at a time. And I invite you to do the same. Thank you.